Driving right through Terminal 1. We were driving with the windows down, and we just heard about 3 to 4 shots, and then we saw everybody kind of running towards this direction. And then the police all started moving in, and they went towards the parking lot. Oh. We're sitting right across from the parking lot.
And this is that garage?
That's the garage, correct. Right here.
Gotcha. Hello. And who are you here to pick up? Your daughter?
My daughter, she's flying in from the Bahamas. She's fine. She's inside, and she's in the customs terminal.
What are they telling her inside?
Just evacuation program.
And what is this evacuation?
We don't know. It's just how to, I guess, leave the airport in case of an emergency.
And you've been here for the last half hour to 45 minutes.
We've been here for 2 hours now.
So now it's Bovic Live. Thank you. We need to get right to Jeff Weinseer
First was
on
at
the
the
scene
entrance,
there in
and
one
now
of
it's in
the
this spot right here.
in one of the parking garages. Jeff, take it away.
Thank you,
You're
sir.
welcome.
Moved all of us from underneath against the wall. They told us to put our camera down, and the sheriff's office and Border Patrol, they're going to be searching us one by one. Each one of us is going to be searched right now. We have been asked to put down our equipment. There are Broward sheriff's officers. There are airport employees. There are Border Patrol agents. There are people here from the that work at the airport, and we are told now we are all standing against the wall in a single file, up against the wall that separates kind of where the public is from the runway area between Terminal 2 and Terminal 3. And I am going to be searched. I'm 2 people away from being searched head to toe by a thief right now.
Okay, Jeff, we're going to have you.
I was just searched, and now I am being followed down. I was just searched, and now I'm being moved back to the area where we were. So, all of these people, there's a Broward Sheriff's deputy with a AR-15 that is telling us now to go back to where we were. So we are all, about 200 people, up against the wall, now being searched. So they're searching everybody at the airport as we speak. Calvin Loy.
Okay. All right, Jeff, thanks a lot. A situation that is still developing right now, and certainly we are coming up on the top of the hour right now at almost 3 o'clock here, and this situation developing still even at Fort Lauderdale-Hollywood International Airport some more than an hour after the first shots rang out. And in a situation where SWAT team members, BSO, just a number of law enforcement officers are swarming this second garage there. You can see on the left side of your screen there passengers and just people standing around waiting to find out more information as we are trying to figure out if there is a second shooter involved in a situation that has led to 5 people getting shot to death, 8 people injured inside of a terminal. The baggage claim that services Delta and Air Canada. But a situation that we are still continuing to monitor as Fort Lauderdale-Hollywood International Airport is shut down, and there are a number of people stuck on the tarmac in planes and also standing around as well. And you can see there on the right of your screen something we have seen a lot of, people walking out of the garage and also walking around the airport with their hands up, a case of police taking no chances and everyone being a possible suspect.
At this point, ATF and FBI are on the scene. You can imagine, I mean, all authorities are there. The FAA warning of delays across the country because of this. But so far, the situation at MIA is normal. We want to let you know, as far as a motive in this, all we know right now is the shooter is a 26-year-old man named Esteban Santiago. He lived in Naples, or lives in Naples. He is in custody. We should emphasize that. Hopefully, he is being questioned right now, and they're going to try to figure out what led up to this and if he had any accomplices. He was carrying some form of military ID, but Senator Bill Nelson of Florida cannot confirm whether that was his ID or not. But he did have that on him. He was born in New Jersey, living in the Naples area. And according to some witnesses on several network broadcasts, he was just silent, did not say a word, and even shot people who were down on the ground.
And Michael, as we take a look at this picture here, it's for so many people hard to believe that this is happening in Fort Lauderdale.
It is shocking. I think shocking is the only appropriate word I can think of. Shocking, disturbing, awful, tragic. Why would somebody go into the baggage claim area of an airport and open fire and, if that's true, fire at people who are already on the ground? I mean, this is reprehensible. It's awful. It's totally sociopathic. But we don't know anything about Esteban Santiago. Certainly, authorities, as you said a minute ago, Calvin, they will be asking him all these questions in the days to come. We will learn more about him, but what we know now is that he is allegedly a killer.
Well, this is a real game changer for so many people who travel in and out of South Florida. We have a team of reporters who are following this story from our newsroom and spread out all across Fort Lauderdale-Hollywood International Airport. I believe we have our Leanne Motorhone, who is following the latest developments in terms of the people who were shot and also the latest situation happening at the airport as well. Leanne, let's begin with you. Okay, we are now going to go with the second reporter, whom I believe is standing by as well. Leanne is certainly working the story as well. Todd Toggin, if you're there, let's kick off our coverage with you once again.
Talk to the law if I had to. Well, you're one of the only
understand what happened.
Todd, if you're able to hear us, can you bring us an update from your location?
Did you see what happened?
Okay, so we're at work on trying to get Jeff Wines here right now. Jeff was just getting searched. Police taking no chances out there, Jeff, as there is a possible second active shooter that is at the airport. Jeff.
Yes, they are. As I said,
Jeff, are you there?
the employees one by one. That is continuing to go on. Several hundred people all being searched by Border Patrol agents, by Broward Sheriff's Office. Again, we are between Terminal 2, Terminal 3, on the ground floor, on the baggage area. They started searching us after this alleged second incident, which has not been confirmed. People here just leaving their luggage behind, leaving their equipment behind, all racing underneath here between, now they have us surrounded by a bus, a rescue unit, and a mobile command unit, and several police cars. Where we are, believe it or not, Davie Fire Rescue is actually here. Like I said, units from all over the county are here. Now keep in mind, they are doing this while, don't forget, they have an active team that they need to work on in Terminal 2. Now, as we speak, I am watching people coming out of the garage with their hands up. People running towards us with their hands up out of the garage. So these are people who are probably on the other side of the airport that are now all coming this way. There's a little girl crying in her mother's arms. The mother is crying as well. Really an unbelievable scene to see. Travelers who are supposed to get on an airplane being escorted at gunpoint with their hands up through a garage. There's a woman there in a wheelchair being escorted. So basically what they're doing is, it looks like they are cordoning off certain, they probably got the airport divided. Now keep in mind, you know how big the airport is. This is no easy task. And they're going from grid to grid, clearing grid to grid, and bringing people into an area where they are searching them. That is what is going on right now between Terminal 2 and Terminal 3, where the curve is. If you come into the airport and you're familiar, you come into the airport and then you curve towards the south. It's almost like a U. And we are by that first curve underneath. Now a woman in front of me in a wheelchair is being helped up, and she will be searched as well. Unbelievable look on a little girl's face as she and her mother come from the garage with their hands up. This little girl must be about 10 years old, in tears. And again, there's people coming from the garage across from Terminal 2 into our area. They likely come from another area of the airport. And this might be the area of the airport where they're going to be searching everybody for possible weapons or for anything that they could find. So that is going on in front of us right now.
Jeff, we're looking live at just one of many fire rescue vehicles coming into the airport trying to get in. I mean, it just gives you a pit in your stomach as you see and imagine all the people who are stuck on the plane, stuck inside the airport, outside the airport, people who are not going to be able to get food, they're not going to be able to take care of their children, and they are going to be stuck here for hours because of this frightening and tragic situation. But just such a domino effect in this, and so many little children, as you say, who are really going to be left just scarred by this. We can only hope that combination of BSO, ATF, FBI, they can resolve this situation very quickly and get thousands of people back to some normalcy.
And if we can, Janice Fernandez, I know you're standing by, and You know, this situation sort of reminds me of when there was a shooting at a school. There are so many people who want to rush to the scene and try to figure out what's going on and maybe pick up loved ones, but no one is going in or out of this airport, correct?
That's true, Calvin. And from a traffic standpoint, when we're looking at where exactly Fort Lauderdale-Hollywood International Airport is located, you're looking at some big backups. And this is, of course, important to note, especially for those of you who may be getting out of work soon, because we're going to be seeing backups along 595, obviously eastbound as you're heading towards the airport, as well as US 1, which gives you direct access to Terminal Drive, and, of course, I-95 as well. Sky 10, we can see those images on the left side of your screen. You can see just the heavy backups from people trying to get into the airport. And this is important to note because, again, we know a lot of you at home are concerned, you're worried for your loved ones, you may have trouble getting a hold of your loved ones, and we know that your instinct, of course, is to rush over to the airport and to see what's going on, but getting into the airport at this time, it's not going to happen. You can just see the huge backups there, obviously police, a heavy police presence there, so your best bet at this point is to stay put. Don't try to get to the airport. Of course, if you had a flight today, you're going to have to call your airline and see what's going on. Some flights are being diverted to other airports as well, so make sure to call the airline. But as far as getting to the airport, that's going to be a difficult situation. And I also want to just note very quickly, because Broward Sheriff has been very great all afternoon long, sending out tweets and updating us. And one thing that they did tweet out that we want to get on air to our viewers is they tweeted out to please not to tie up 911. Call takers have no info. So if you're trying to get information, calling 911, that's not going to be their answer. If you have to call, dial the non-emergency number, and that number is 954-764-4357. I'm going to give you that number again, 954-764-4357. Don't hold up the emergency line. Those callers don't have information. We know that this is a scary situation. You're trying to get info. And right now we're looking at live pictures from what appears to be people bowing their heads at the airport, possibly saying a small prayer, maybe gathering around. But again, confirming from BSO that 5 people dead, 8 injured after the shooting at the airport. We're going to continue to monitor social media and, of course, the traffic situation as well, and continue to bring you all the updates here.
Well, that is a moving picture that we are seeing live from Fort Lauderdale International Airport. The gentleman on the white shirt on the right side of the screen appears to have been leading that group of people in prayer, and now they are breaking up, but people with their heads bowed. And there's certainly, if there were a moment for prayer, if you are a believer, this is a good time for it.
Certainly is. And then on the right-hand side of your screen, you see what looks like a traffic accident already. If not, just people just parked and pulling into all different situations. We have Todd Tongan now on the left of your screen there. Todd, bring us up to date as we look at SWAT vehicles trying to get through the traffic into the airport.
Lori, we're in Terminal 1 right now with some of the passengers that have been sequestered. They out of the parking garages, and we're told to come inside the terminal. You can hear the alarms going off. That's the internal security alarms for the airport saying that there is an emergency situation. Strobes are going off. Just moments ago, airport operations brought over a rabbi who spoke to the crowd and offered his condolences and assistance in anyone that may be stunned, shocked, or grieving over the incident. We did speak to one man that was inside Terminal 2 during that shooting. He did not want to speak to us. He was definitely very shaken up. When I said, "What did you see?" all he said was, "I just saw him do this," and mimed holding a weapon and firing. He did not want to speak with us. However, he was very shaken up. The other passengers here, for the most part, did not see anything inside Terminal 2, but some of them insist that they did hear gunshots just outside of this terminal, a second set of gunshots that prompted that security scare as a possible second active shooter in the building. Or in the parking garage, I should say. They have been told to go ahead and grab a seat, relax. This could take a while for them to clear the airport, and we will have to remain here